The Cursed Circle. In the small town of Oakwood, nestled deep in the woods, there was a legend that had been passed down for generations. It was said that in the 1600s, a group of witches had been executed by the townspeople for their supposed evil deeds. Before they died, the witches put a curse on the land, vowing that their spirits would haunt Oakwood forever. As time passed, the legend became nothing more than a spooky story to tell around campfires. But one group of teenagers was about to learn that there was truth to the tale. It was a warm summer night when 5 friends decided to venture into the woods to find the rumored Witches' Circle. They had heard that there was a clearing deep in the forest where the witches had performed their dark rituals. The friends were skeptical, but they were also curious and eager for adventure. As they walked deeper into the woods, the air grew colder and the trees seemed to close in around them. They heard strange noises and saw shadowy figures moving in the darkness, but they brushed it off as their imagination and pressed on. Finally, they stumbled upon the clearing they had been searching for. In the center of the circle was a large rock, and there were strange markings etched into the ground around it. The friends felt a chill run down their spines as they realized they were standing in the very place where the witches had performed their rituals. One of the friends, a girl named Katie, decided to step into the circle. As she did, a sudden gust of wind whipped through the clearing, extinguishing their flashlights and plunging them into darkness. The friends panicked and tried to find each other in the endless black, but they couldn't see a thing. As they stumbled around, they heard a whispering voice that seemed to be coming from all around them. It was a language they couldn't understand, but it sounded ancient and ominous. Suddenly the wind died down, and the flashlights flickered back to life. When the friends looked around, they realized that Katie was nowhere to be found. They called out her name, but there was no answer. As they searched frantically, they began to notice that strange symbols had appeared on their skin. The symbols were identical to the ones they had seen etched into the ground around the circle. Their panic turned to terror when they heard a low chanting coming from the darkness. They couldn't see where it was coming from, but they knew it was getting closer. Suddenly, a figure appeared out of the shadows. It was Katie, but she was different. Her eyes were black and lifeless, and she was muttering the same strange language they had heard before. The friends tried to run, but they found themselves trapped within the circle. They were surrounded by a glowing energy that they couldn't penetrate. They were trapped with Katie and whatever force had possessed her. The chanting grew louder, and suddenly the friends were knocked off their feet by an invisible force. They lay on the ground, paralyzed with fear, as the possessed Katie stepped closer to them. In a voice that was not her own, she spoke. "You have trespassed in our sacred space, and now you will suffer the consequences. You are now bound to this circle, just as we were centuries ago." The friends screamed in terror as they realized they were now trapped in the cursed circle, doomed to be haunted by the spirits of the witches forever. They tried to fight against the force holding them in place, but it was too powerful. They were helpless and at the mercy of the supernatural. As the sun began to rise, the energy that had held them in place dissipated, and the friends stumbled out of the circle, bruised and traumatized. They ran back to their homes, but they soon realized that they had not escaped the curse. Strange things began to happen to them. Objects moved on their own, doors slammed shut, and they heard voices whispering in the darkness. They couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. They sought help from the local priest, but he was unable to help them. He told them that they had been cursed by the witches and that there was no way to break it. They were trapped in the cursed circle forever. Days turned into weeks, and the friends began to lose their grip on reality. They couldn't sleep, they couldn't eat, and they couldn't find peace. They saw the possessed Katie in their nightmares, and they heard the chanting in their heads. They were slowly being driven mad. One by one, they began to succumb to the curse. First, it was Chris, who was found dead in his bed, his body twisted and contorted into an impossible position. Then it was Emily, who disappeared without a trace. And then it was Tom, who was found hanging from a tree in the woods. Only 2 of the friends remained, Sarah and Josh. They knew that they were next, and they didn't know how much longer they could hold on. They had tried everything to break the curse, but nothing had worked. One night, as they sat in Sarah's living room, they heard the chanting again. It was louder than ever before, and they knew that it was only a matter of time before they were taken by the curse. In a moment of desperation, they decided to try one last thing. They went back to the cursed circle, hoping that they could find a way to break the curse once and for all. As they stood in the circle, they heard the chanting getting closer. They closed their eyes and began to recite a prayer. Spirits of the witches past, we ask forgiveness for our trespass. May our souls be now set free, and Oakwood's woods return to tranquility. By the power of love and light, we banish the curse this very night. In unity and peace we stand to heal and protect this sacred land. Suddenly, they felt a warmth spreading through their bodies. It was a feeling of peace and light, and they knew that they had broken the curse. When they opened their eyes, they saw the spirits of the witches floating above them, but instead of anger and hatred, they saw acceptance and understanding. The witches had been waiting for someone to break the curse, and Sarah and Josh had done it. The spirits of the witches dissipated into the air, and the cursed circle was no more. Sarah and Josh walked out of the woods, free from the curse that had haunted them for so long. The legend of the witches of Oakwood lived on, but now it was a story of redemption and hope. The cursed circle was gone, and the town was at peace once again. But Sarah and Josh would never forget the horror that they had faced, and they would always remember the bravery it took to break the curse. When you subscribe, be sure to click the notification bell. Click here for more true scary stories.